What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Ryan with the Roundtable of Wraith, bringing you another deck tech video. However, we've got some new spice going on today. This is a Blitz deck tech for the upcoming Skirmish season, and this is the first deck that I have decided to build, the one that I'm going to be testing the most going into the season. So I thought I'd go over my choices and the deck itself. First and foremost, I would like to give a huge shout out to channel member Sam Dando. We are recording this on Sunday, March 20th. He just finished top 4 at the calling. Could not bring it home. However, an insane showing with Briar. We're going to have a video on him and his deck again. He won our Pro Quest. I'm sure those of you that are familiar with the channel have seen that video. If you haven't, please check this out. He is now arguably one of the greatest Briar players in the world, at least the country, but in the world, I'll say world. So we're going to have another video featuring him and his top 4 performance. So keep an eye out for that. I would just want to, again, give a huge shout out to Sam and just congratulate him for all the success he's achieving with that deck. And yeah, but moving on from CC, right? Indie calling is over. The Skirmish season 4, 3, 4, whatever it is now, is upon us. And we've got some toys to play with here when it comes to our new Blitz heroes. Everyone, I feel like, has been talking about Benji because if you haven't gone into or dove into the Blitz metas yet, there are a lot of horrible videos of OTK Benji going around. Kano gets to play Blitz. He's pretty effective. We got Icelander, who apparently is pretty good in Blitz. I haven't played the format a ton yet this season, so a lot of what I'm saying is going to be all theoretical stuff, but this is the deck that I believe is well positioned. It's very good, and I'll explain why and some of my choices. So without further ado, here is my Kassai deck tech. So of course we are playing Kassai, the Centauri Sellsword. Her ability, she actually has 2 relevant abilities this time around. So the first one, second sword attack, each turn gets a 1 discount, which is insane, right? We're playing with both Centauri Sabers. So essentially, if we can give go again to the first one, which, spoiler alert, we're going to be able to do, the second Saber comes in for free every time. Fantastic ability. So amazing on resource curve, all that stuff. The second line now. So if we attack for 2 or more, we make a copper token for each sword attack that has hit this turn. So she's always had that ability. It's not a new thing. It's not like a retro errata or anything like that, but it's a lot more relevant. And when we get into her specialization in the card pool, we're going to explain why. But first, we're going to go into the loadout. So you're allowed 11 loadout and Blitz, or 11 equipment slots in Blitz, which is amazing. There's no sideboarding, which is another thing that's a little bit different from CC. So our main loadout suite, we're going to have both Centauri Sabers. It's the only weapon we're going to be running. The chest piece, we'll start there. The main chest piece we're going to be running in pretty much every matchup is going to be Courage of Bladehold. So Courage is a fantastic chest piece. If you guys have stuck around since like over a year ago when I won the Skirmish event with Dorinthia, you know that I ran Courage there too. It's just so good for Warrior. You break it, it doesn't cost anything to break, and your sword attacks that turn cost 1 resource less. So you're basically, not only is now your second Centauri sword or Centauri Saber for free, the first one is as well. So fantastic value, and it blocks for 2. So you get a one-time block of 2. If you have to block with the second time, it gets destroyed, but usually you're going to be blocking straight up with 1 attack, and then you're going to crack it and use its ability. Main headpiece is going to be the Arcanite Skullcap. Again, we're just going to be running the fridge here. 2 block, 1. I'm not going to go over Arcanite. It's just fantastic for what it does. The reason, if you guys take a look before I get into the other ones, if you guys take a look at the equipment suite here, the reason why I think Kassai is decently poised in this meta is because she's running the fridge. Warrior has always had a fridge, but against Benji specifically, you have all of these high equipment blocks where you're not necessarily worried about the OTK version of Benji, and you are usually outputting a decent amount of damage back to him, so you're not really worried. So that's why I like this here. The leg piece, the Valiant Dynamo, the star of the show here. This is the best card or best equipment piece in the deck by far, just because the way that the deck is set up, you are swinging twice every single turn. Okay, that means you are blocking with Valiant Dynamo every single turn, and you are saving upwards anywhere from 3 to 8 damage, depending on how long the Blitz game goes. But Valiant Dynamo, insane health preserver, health stealer, whatever you want to call it. It's just the best equipment slot in the deck. The arms now are a little bit debated. So I prefer to start off with Gallantry Gold. That's kind of my main loadout. And the reason is because of that +1 buff. Kassai, the way that she's structured, the way that she's built, is a damage dealer, but she's also a semi-combo deck as well. You're setting up for this gigantic combo turn, but unlike, like, let's say Saber's Bolton in CC, where all of your eggs are going into that combo turn, and if it doesn't happen, you just lose. She's also able to pump enough vanilla damage where she can just race and get there on her own anyway. But Gallantry Gold helps with that combo strategy. So if you do set up that Blood on Her Hands turn, which I'll cover that card very shortly, this just aids, because if you crack Courage of Bladehold, your swords are getting free, or are going to be free for the turn. And then Gallantry, if you pay 1, you can destroy that. And now every swing that you make is going to be +1 for the turn. So that's insane value. So it makes each Saber 3 base automatically. And then Sabers get +1 if they're ever defended by an attack action card. And that +1 stays for the entire turn. So if you're attacking multiple times with each Saber, and let's say your first Saber swing, you crack Gallantry, now you're coming for 3 with no buff. They block with an attack action card that blocks for 3. Now that becomes a 4. And that 4 sticks around for the rest of the turn. So if you swing again, now it's another 4. So there's a lot of cool things you can do here. The reason that this isn't quite effective in CC is just because of the high life totals, right? If you have 40 health and you're popping off for like a combo turn like this, it's not that great. But in Blitz, where each person is working with roughly around 20 health, any damage is insane. So if you can have a combo turn where you're dealing, 20 plus damage like Kassai can do, then you're in business. So I prefer running Gallantry Gold. Brave Forge Bracers is also just a tried and true option. You like the 2 defense. Probably run this against like traditional Bravo, just so you can like kind of dodge crush again. Once again, I have not tested this a ton yet. So I need to test a bunch of matchups for the upcoming season, and traditional Bravo just isn't somebody that I've tested against, but that's where my head is. But I'm pretty much running Gallantry in every matchup outside of maybe traditional Bravo. The other good news about Blitz here that I'm sure everybody watching the video is excited to see: no Starvo. We don't have to deal with that bullshit because there is no young Starvo. So this is gonna be a fun little thing. And then we have the Nilrun Boots, Gloves, Hood option. If you are against Kano, you run all 3. If you're against Viserai, which Viserai is probably going to end up being the best deck in the format, especially with Vexing Quill Hands. That's probably the best equipment spot or equipment piece in the format. You probably run, I would say you probably run Nilrun Hood. You probably keep Gallantry or Brave Forge. You keep Valiant Dynamo for sure because they're still coming at you with attacks, but I would say probably replace Arcanite Skullcap for the Hood, and you try it out that way. If you do play this matchup, if you are a Kassai expert, comment below, let me know what Nilrun you like against Viserai, but my first instinct would be to get rid of Arcanite and put in Hood in response. Tunic is kind of cheeky. It's there for just because I had an 11th slot and I needed another one. But it could slide in against Wizard. You don't need Courage against Wizard. It's still nice for your go-off turns, but you can also just go with Tunic and go for that guaranteed 3rd resource. The game's probably not going longer than 3, so you're probably only going to get 1 resource. So that's up to you. I'm undecided there. Courage is still a fine option because, Blood on Her Hands isn't going away anytime soon. In that matchup, so you could still do it for the discount. It just doesn't help you with block wise. So let's get into the cards here. Let us group this by pitch. So we're going to talk about the red cards first. So red pitch, we've got Blade Runner and Hit and Run. They are going to be run in every pitch. We're going to run 2 of them in every pitch. They are the crux of the deck, along with Spoils of War and then Glint the Quicksilver. We have about 16 Go Again cards, and Go Again is just essential. Every single turn, you need to be attacking with 2 sabers. Whether it's with Blade Runner, whether it's with Hit and Run, whether it's with Spoils, you have to be attacking twice. Because that is what the deck is set up to do. We want to make copper, we want to attack twice, we want to put as much pressure on our opponents as possible. So, Blade Runner, Hit and Run, Spoils, essential to the game plan there. You usually don't want to lead with Hit and Run, although, unfortunately, it does happen, but that second buff is extremely nice. If we can get that pumped too, that's fantastic. As for our attack reactions, we've got In the Swing, which is just a generic 0+3 on the second attack, which is fantastic. No reprise, so we don't have to, the opponent doesn't have to do anything. This is a good way to kind of finish off games. We have 1 cheeky Iron Song response. This is kind of not my favorite card here, but it's still solid. The only reason it's there is because I have a lot of pre-buffs, like you'll see, like Push Forward, Sharpen Steel, Slice and Dice, Outland Skirmish. Like all these cards are great, but they buff the first attack. They're kind of on the table damage that your opponent can decide what to do. So I want a little bit of kind of sneaky stuff. So that's why Iron Song is there. It can be cut. It can be replaced. I don't think the resource curve allows for it to be replaced with Route, although I do like Route. But yeah, I have 1 Iron Song. Testing is going to see whether or not it stays or not. The pre-buffs, so Sharpen Steel, 0 for 3, just a great card. Outland Skirmish is like an MVP, right? We want our copper makers in our deck, and this is one of them. It says your next one-handed weapon attack gets +3, and then the next time a weapon attack hits this turn, create 1 copper. So it doesn't have to be that, the one that it's buffing. So it's just the next time one hits. So great card to get some value out of and add some copper. Spoils is going to be the absolute just nuts best card of the deck, because we can not only does it give +2 buff, so we hit that first one with a breakpoint of 4, but next, or whenever a weapon attack hits this turn, we create 2 copper. So this is going to be our copper generator that we want to generate, or we want to maximize. So whether we're comparing it with In the Swing, Iron Song, even Blade Runners, or ideally Push Forward, we want to maximize those turns because we want to get to 6 copper as soon as possible. Out for Blood, just a great generic attack reaction. As I was saying with Iron Song response, we want to have some surprise damage in here, and Out for Blood just hits that bolt mold, right? It's a 1 cost +3 automatically. You don't have to have reprise for that. However, the reprise then says your next attack gains +1. So we buff the next one on the chain. So I love Out for Blood. I've always loved Out for Blood, and it's just a staple in any warrior deck that I run. Slice and Dice is a new one from Everfest. So it says whenever you attack with a sword or dagger this turn, your first attack gets +1, and then your second attack gets +3. So that would make your sabers coming at you for 3 and then 5 if you get Go Again, which again you should be getting Go Again. So Slice and Dice is just good value. It's basically a 0 for 4, which we like 0 for 4s in Flesh and Blood, and this is one of them. So red Slice and Dice, great card. The other card on here is going to be Push Forward. So I have never really loved this card as far as warriors go. However, in Blitz, you have to have closers. You can't just have vanilla damage. You can't just, we're not running a ton of attack reacts. So we need to have something where we can play to close late game, and Push Forward is one of them because it gives Dominate. So if you swing with your first sword and give that Go Again and then play Push Forward, your next attack or your next saber attack is going to have Dominate, and it's going to be a +3. So this is a good late game finisher that we want to build towards, because this is one of the ways that we close out games. So Push Forward is great. In this particular build, it's not my favorite card, but it's just good in what we're trying to do, which is just kind of consistently push damage across and eventually just make them fold. Last red card, 1 cheeky Nourishing Emptiness. Nourishing in this deck is interesting because unless the dream lines up, you're rarely going to be able to swing with 2 sabers and then play Nourishing to finish your chain, right? So that means you're either going to play this instead of swinging a second time with your saber, or you're just not going to play this at all, okay? If you can get the dream where you swing twice and then play Nourishing, then you're golden. This is the only attack action card we play in this deck, but it is a little bit of a workaround, right? You want to build up to get there. If you don't play this card, this isn't a forced card. This is not a card that you have to play every matchup, right? Kassai doesn't need 5 cards in order to be successful. In fact, she's really good with 2 cards. But Nourishing is still, I think, too good to... Like, it's the upside is too good, right? If you find your opponent on an off turn and, you know, you didn't have to block with Dynamo and you have a Nourishing Emptiness, then, you know, you can attack with a sword, play Nourishing, and then you're going to get a 6 dominate, probably push some attack across or correct some equipment, and then you're either going to get 5 intellect and whatever it is. Nourishing is also really good on turn 0, right? If you draw opening Nourishing and you don't want them to filter their hand, they really don't have an option, right? Because it's a 6 dominate attack. So if you do draw this on your opening hand, it's still very good. So I do like 1 Nourishing. It's a cuttable card, so is Iron Song Response. The other ones I would not touch. I think everything else on the reds is perfect. I don't think you would touch those. But if you want some play around, if you disagree, I would say you can probably change the Iron Song and probably change the Nourishing. I just really like both of those. Yellows. So we have yellow Outland Skirmish. So again, you might say, well, 0 for 2 seems pretty bad. But if you pair that up with the first saber, now you're at a saber breakpoint of 4, which is really good. If we can hit our breakpoints and then make a copper along the way, it's fine. So yellow Outland Skirmish is like just good enough. It's not a great card, but it's just good enough. Slice and Dice, again, just good enough. 0 for 3 is fine. This one can be replaced. Hit Run staple, Blade Runner staple. Before I get into this monster, I do want to talk about what card is missing here, and that is Cash In. So a lot of Kassai players, I think, go to Cash In and say, well, I mean, this is amazing. I get to draw 2 cards for free. Well, in this deck particularly, we want to be not cashing in, I shouldn't say that, but we want to be banking up our copper, right, for this card specifically. And Cash In forces us to kind of play like suboptimally. And so if we're playing Cash In, although we might have 4 copper pretty readily to, you know, break and then draw 2 cards for free, we're taking away or we're detracting from our overall win condition, which is Blood on Our Hands. So Blood on Our Hands is a new card that we got from Everfest, and it is a monster. So as an additional cost to play Blood on Our Hands, we can destroy any amount of copper that we control. For each copper that we destroy, we can select each mode, and we can choose each mode twice. So it says target one-handed weapon gets +1, target one-handed weapon gains go again while it's attacking this turn, and target one-handed weapon may attack twice this turn. So the dream here is 6 copper. That way we can use each mode twice and select each of the weapons. Now, fun thing about this card, the first mode, target one-handed weapon, gets +1. You don't have to target the other one, right? So you can target the same one-handed weapon twice and give it +1/+1. So then instead it's coming out in for 4, which is sort of relevant. So that way this one's coming in for 4, this one's coming in for 2, but now this one hits a breakpoint. So they have to block a little bit differently. And this one's still an awkward block anyway. Something to keep in mind. You don't have to target each weapon. The other one, obviously, target weapon has go again, so you want to target each weapon there, and then target weapon can attack twice. So again, you want to target each one twice there, or each one once there. So yeah, just remember that about the first mode. You do not have to target different one-handed weapons. You can target the same one-handed weapon twice and give it a +4, or give it to up to 4. The dream is 6, right? We want to do this. You can pop off sooner than 6, but this card is crazy. This is a kind of a finisher that we pair with Braveforge Bracers. It's down here now, not Braveforge Bracers, but we pair with Courage of Bladehold, and then we pair with Gallantry Gold, and now you can see like really, really massive pop-off turns. And the nice part about Kassai is that she's pumping vanilla damage throughout the course of the game, so we're not reliant on this to win, right? Through Blade Runner, through Out for Blood, through In the Swing, through Iron Song, through Nourishing. We're doing damage anyway, right? This is just our explosive turn, especially if we compare it with our equipment. But yeah, this card is crazy. We want to build towards this. If you draw it early, don't be afraid to pitch it. And I'm going to show you why we're not afraid to pitch it. For those of you that scroll down here, you might see a cheeky little, a little card over there. That might be interesting. But yeah, this card's crazy. We want to build around it, and we want to play that as many games as possible, because that's going to be our win con. And then our blues. I wouldn't run more than 10 blues, but I would say Blade Runner standard, Glint standard, Hit and Run standard. And then these are probably interchangeable. Push Forward, again, another sense of Dominate. We want those, especially if we have a second swing, getting a Dominate on that. And then, they can only block with one card. And then we second swing them for +3 is just a good way to close out games. So I wouldn't get rid of that. Steelblade Shunt, I like having this. I'm not running any other defense reactions because it's Blitz. So I like Shunt just for... if you're in the mirror, it's great. If you're against Benji, it's great. If you're against Katsu, it's great. If you're against Bravo, it's great. If you're against, I don't know, anybody else that attacks with their weapon consistently, it's great. And it's not a bad pitch. So I like Shunt a lot, just as a security blanket and as a blue pitch. So I wouldn't run more than 10 blues. But the blues are, I would say, Push Forward and Steelblade Shunt are ultimately interchangeable. There can be a case for, cutting blue Hit and Run, even though I would not do it. And then I think Blade Runner and Glint are way too good to even consider cutting. But that's the blue suite. And then the last card of the deck here, Minerva Themis, whatever it is. She is a mentor that came from the Bolton Monarch Blitz deck. And we're only running one because I wouldn't run any more. But it says... At the start of your turn, if Minerva is face down in your arsenal spot, flip her face up. One-handed weapons you control have +1. Whenever a weapon attack hits, put a lesson counter on Minerva. Then, if she has 3 or more lesson counters on Minerva, banish her, search your deck for a specialization card, and put it face up in your arsenal, and then shuffle your deck. Right. So that is our tutor to get blood on her hands. So that's what I'm saying. If you get this in your first hand or whatever, don't think that you have to sit in Arsenal and just not do anything with that card. You can pitch it, and then eventually, if we can get Minerva live, we can search it. Minerva by herself is fantastic, right? Kassai doesn't need her Arsenal. She's not relying on like a 5-card hand like Dorinthia is. As long as you have a Go Again card and we're threatening damage, like, 2 cards like a blue and a Push Forward now is, a blue and a Blade Runner is 2 attacks, you clear Dynamo, and you're threatening to 5 damage, 7 damage. That's the worst, which in Blitz, that's almost half of a health or half of your opponent's life. So, it's good. And then Minerva would just make everything +1. So now those Centauri Sabers become 3s, which is great. And that's, if they let them hit the whole, 3 times in a row, that's +3 there. And you get to go search blood on her hands. You're making 3 copper, you're searching blood on her hands. Minerva's just a great card. Doesn't pitch, it sucks, but she does block for 3 in case of a pinch. If you draw her late and you don't need her, a 3 block is fine. So, yeah, short and sweet, quick deck tech. I am going to be testing this a lot. I will, if I make any drastic changes or whatever, I'll post more videos. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of just a shell while we go into skirmish season here, what I'm going to be running and testing. I would say public enemy number 1 is probably Viscerai. So if anybody does play this matchup or play this deck and, has figured out this matchup, please let me know how it feels. I just envision that being kind of a really bad matchup for us, or at least a difficult matchup. I don't know about bad, but difficult for sure. But I think with all the pumps and stuff, I think Kassai is just so consistent that in Blitz especially, she's going to be one of the more aggressive decks, and she's going to be able to push through consistent damage and really get your opponent on their back foot early. So here's a deck list. Let me know. I can post the link in the description below. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate this. Good luck in your upcoming skirmish season, and post your victory videos or whatever, and let me know. But with the Roundtable of Wraith, this has been Ryan, and until next time, we'll see you guys later.